way that Dash works to make it ideal for payments. The main features being instant confirmations and the ability to respend instantly. So it addresses use cases like the ability to purchase Dash at, say, a kiosk and immediately use it a couple seconds later at a turnstile. And so we've seen a great deal of adoption in places like Venezuela, and oftentimes are the leading cryptocurrency for payments on a lot of the payment platforms that we're integrated into. And so it really speaks to the fact that we've really addressed a lot of the user experience issues and made it a much more fluid experience for paying, especially at the point of sale where time really matters. And then we've also made a number of improvements to governance and the funding model for a decentralized currency. We have a proposal system that provides grants to entities that serve the network. Dash Core Group is one of those. And so we receive funding from the network in order to fund our operations and conduct development work for the core product. And we've also innovated with some pretty unique legal structures that surround the network and enable it to really engage in legal contracts in the real world. So we've done a number of things around kind of funding and governance, and we're actually the longest running DAO in the industry.
Oh, it's really interesting.
So it's really functioned quite well. That was introduced back in 2015 and has really allowed us to maintain a lot of projects around the world that are focused on adoption.
Do you think that the actual use cases of Dash are contributing to the suite of exchanges that have listed it?
Well, I think certainly the improvements that we've made to the way that confirmations occur and the level of security associated with Dash is attractive to exchanges, particularly because there's really no need with Dash to wait for block level confirmations. The way that most cryptocurrency networks work is any given node on the network can only see the immediate nodes that it's connected to. And so it can't know what the rest of the network sees. It can't know that a particular block is dominating the entire network. And so the only way to really get a high level of security is to allow for more confirmations. And as more confirmations occur, that node becomes more and more assured of the fact that they're following the right chain, and that the confirmations that they've received are valid on the incoming funds. And that's why exchanges require 6 confirmations for a coin, is to make sure that that level of security is there. The way that Dash works is that it relies on its masternode layer of the network to basically broadcast the status of the chain tip to everyone. And it requires a supermajority.
To all node holders or just master nodes?
Just master nodes, and there's a reason for that. Just like with Bitcoin, anyone is free to download the full node software and run a full node on the network, validate all of the blocks for themselves, etc. But master nodes have a special place in the network. And in order to upgrade your full node from a regular full node to a master node, you as the operator need to prove ownership over 1,000 Dash. And currently that's about $70,000 worth. And what that does is it limits the number of master nodes that any one entity can control. it ensures that that layer of the network is widely distributed. And right now we have around 2,900 masternodes, 4,900 masternodes.
Is there a limit to the number of masternodes on the system?
There is a limit, and it's based on the number of coins in existence.
Oh, okay.
There can't be more masternodes than there are blocks of 1,000 coins. So there is an upper limit on how large the masternode layer of the network can become.
Have you seen an uptick in the amount of masternode holders since you've been listed on so many different exchanges?
No, it's pretty steady right now. It's been between 4,900 and 5,000 for quite some time.
Okay.
And there's a reason for that. It's kind of a market. If there are more masternodes running, each masternode gets paid less frequently for their services. And so there's kind of a natural equilibrium there that occurs over time, and we're kind of there right now. And so we don't see a lot of net new masternodes being created, and we also don't see them drifting away. And so it seems to have leveled out. And the amount of security that provides, it means you not only to attack the Dash network, you don't only need 51% of the hash rate, you also need to control more than 60% of the masternode network. That's exceeding expensive. It's far more expensive than just buying hardware, as an example. And that provides a much higher level of security and much more difficult to attack the network when you have these two mechanisms working together, as opposed to relying exclusively on proof of work. And what this means is the Dash network is 51% attack proof. As soon as a block is published, it's voted on by the masternodes, and if the masternodes choose to lock it, no other block at that level is at that same block height is valid. And that means that there's no need to wait for a lot of block confirmations in order to credit a user account. Now, Dash is highly secure almost immediately. We're finding 0 confirmations, 1 confirmation, 2 confirmation is kind of the range that our most recent integrations are requiring. And we've also seen a trend in existing exchanges begin to lower their number of confirmation requirements. And so this enables traders with the ability to arbitrage between exchanges if they can move funds immediately between exchanges. So if I deposit coins to an exchange, I can trade them right away. I don't go to bed and wake up the next morning to trade.
Could you explain that a little bit more, how it may prevent arbitrage, like the security inherent in the Dash system?
Sure. So if an exchange can reduce the number of confirmations required to credit a user account, and I as a trader see a particularly high price for Dash on a different exchange, but I don't have any Dash located there, I can transfer some over, get it credited to my account immediately, and sell that Dash into the order book and capture some benefit. And so it helps stabilize prices for users across exchanges. It enables arbitrage opportunities, not only in Dash, but in other currencies Dash is paired with, particularly Bitcoin. And so if Bitcoin's price becomes high on a separate exchange, I can transfer Dash over and purchase Bitcoin basically at a discount. And so, I think that it helps with price stabilization, not just for Dash, but for any pairing on the exchange.
Yeah.
And so that drives volumes for the exchange. And that's obviously economically valuable for them. So that's kind of the trend that we're seeing. That's the education process we're going through with the exchanges. We're beginning to quantify the effects and really show for traders and for exchanges the benefits of providing this capability.
Oh yeah, definitely. Are there any other inherent features in Dash that kind of make it attractive to institutional traders? I mean, among the exchanges that listed Dash recently, notably was Coinbase Pro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that there's a few different things. One is Dash is one of the few currencies that is being adopted for real-world use. We're seeing this in multiple market strategies that we're following. Probably the most notable success is Venezuela, where Dash is a very usable cryptocurrency with thousands of merchants that are accepting it. We see use cases there where individual merchants are seeing hundreds of transactions every week. An example there is the parking garage project that really solves a real-world problem for people trying to pay for parking in Venezuela with the poor payment infrastructure that they have there. Yeah. And so I think that there's some attractiveness there for not only just the potential that the coin has, but also supporting a project that's getting real usage. I think that a lot of the investors that we speak to aren't just here to try to profit. They're also here to try to change the world, and that's the investment hypothesis that they have. And so that is an attractive component. Of course, another component is the ability to operate masternodes. If they're going to hold a certain volume of Dash, they can actually generate that passive income by operating masternodes on the network. And so there are a couple of advantages over other currencies that Dash does provide to the institutional traders.
There's also kind of a trend going on right now about exchanges delisting privacy coins, and one of the features of Dash is the private send function. And I was wondering why it is that exchanges may be comfortable with listing Dash.
I think that Dash has been labeled a privacy-centric coin and grouped in with other privacy-centric coins largely by the media, and a lot of this is just due to the fact that Dash was the first coin with any type of privacy feature built in, dating all the way back to 2014. What we implemented required no changes to Bitcoin's blockchain, and that is we implemented CoinJoin. CoinJoin is a privacy technique. It's not a change to the technology. CoinJoin can be implemented on any transparent blockchain. All Dash transactions display the input addresses, the amounts, the output addresses and amounts. There's nothing hidden or obscured. CoinJoin has since been implemented in Bitcoin starting in 2015. It's been implemented into around half a dozen wallets and tools. And is widely used at this point. And in fact, Bitcoin has implemented, some Bitcoin wallets have added features like Xiaomen CoinJoin, which provides some additional privacy. Of course, there's off-chain transactions now on Bitcoin's network. There are a lot of other privacy-enhancing functionality that has been added not only to Bitcoin, but to Bitcoin Cash and some of these other coins. Yeah. And so to draw a legal distinction between the two, you simply can't at this point. And in fact, we conducted private send transactions on Bitcoin's blockchain to prove it. And so what we found is that there actually needs to be an education process with the exchanges. They oftentimes don't understand the underlying technology, or at least the business or compliance areas don't understand it well enough to make a decision. And so they're looking at a list of, quote, privacy-centric coins and making their decisions off of that. And So the first of these was eToro X. We had to go in and educate eToro X as well as their regulator on how Dash works, how you can remain compliant with FATF rules, and why it really, from a legal standpoint, is no different than a lot of the coins that they're already comfortable with. And once that education process has taken place, we found that those decisions are reversed. We have been working with some of the Korean exchanges that have recently made a similar announcement.
Yeah.
And the reception has been incredibly positive so far. So I'm very hopeful that we will be able to reverse those decisions as well, or at least shift them into pending status from a certainty. And it is, I think, in my mind, it's simply a process of education and showing them the differences and similarities between the coins so that they can make a more appropriate decision. I think at some point the laws are going to have to contain some definition of what is a privacy coin. What does that mean? Because these arbitrary labels on technologies that are very different from each other don't make any sense. Fewer than 1% of transactions utilize it, similar to CoinJoin on Bitcoin.
Okay.
And the elements of the transactions themselves remain transparent. Dash was never designed to optimize for security or privacy, because privacy comes with trade-offs from a technology standpoint. It can increase the blockchain size significantly. It can decrease the transaction throughput of the network. And certainly, what kind of a user experience is it to be banned from being able to trade it? That's kind of a consideration as well, is user access. And so balancing all of these different needs is something that we constantly have to be adjusting.
Because we've been speaking so much about exchanges, if you could maybe share your thoughts on the new the crypto rating council that was kind of pushed forward by Coinbase recently. If you have any...
Yeah, I think that it's an interesting concept. I think that some type of transparency over security status is required. It isn't currently coming from the authorities. The regulators are not making this crystal clear. I think they need to do a lot more to define what the criteria is. But I applaud the effort. I think that it helps to bring some level of clarity to the market and at least stakes out a position that people can begin to debate and challenge. I think it points to the need. The fact that the exchanges are having to come forward with some type of viewpoint on this in the absence of guidance, I think, is telling of where we're at.
Yeah.
I think everyone in the industry kind of wants that clarity on how these things are going to be treated, so that they can start making more informed decisions about where they invest, what features they build, how they release coins into the market. There's a lot of things that are being done, and it's kind of being done blind right now. And so, I think getting some level of guidance as to what good looks like and how to avoid that security status is to be applauded.
Yeah.
But I think that there's only so much the exchanges can do. And there is a potential there for perceived or real conflicts of interest, that they're the ones performing the ratings. But it at least is a step in the right direction.